Welcome back to Halloween Kills.
The waggle dance is how bees communicate.
Along with Big John and Little John.
They communicate the precise location by shaking their butts.
What is in that honey?
They're a little on the eccentric side, but they're cute.
My mom kept bees before she died.
I'm sorry, baby.
Halloween's over, kids!
Yeah, pretty sure that's not kids.
Knock it off!
Not that one either.
Well, now they're at the front door.
Don't you know whose house this was? Huh?
Honey, don't do anything stupid. We don't want to get sued.
Did you lock the back door?
Oops, Little John forgot to lock the back door.
Check. Big John?
Yes, Little John.
Someone's in our house. And it's not a child.
Fuck that.
And Big John is about to throw hands.
I got this knife.
I got this knife.
I like how Big John got a little knife and Little John got a big knife. These two are the best. Back at the hospital, things are getting kind of rowdy, and now the mental patient shows up. And they just immediately think it's Michael for some reason. What I think is happening here is that Tommy doesn't actually see the guy, or at least not well. I think he's just kind of taking it at face value that this is Michael, partly because he's all riled up. The crowd is so thick that we can't even see him, so maybe Tommy can't either. Either way, Laurie and Karen definitely don't see him and are taking Tommy's word on it.
Big John!
Back at the Johns' house...
Little John?
Big John.
Honestly, if it were anyone but Michael, I think Big John could take him. Little John, not so much. And Big John gets a knife to the armpit, which has to hurt, and... Holy shit, Michael. Aww.
Michael,
Oh, Little John, you're not too smart, are you?
you've come home.
Back at the hospital, Tommy has revved up an entire mob that's chasing down this poor innocent mental patient. Laurie and Karen finally get a good look at him and try to tell them that it's not Michael, but they're too focused to pay attention. Laurie would fucking know, you guys. She just need a doctor in the crotch. That was awesome. But now she's succumbing to her injuries and being trampled on top of that. Thanks, guys. You're a big help. Earlier, Oscar's mom came asking about him.
I miss Mother. Is he alive?
And now... Oh, like I didn't feel bad enough about Oscar's death already. So they get Laurie back to her room.
Michael's masterpiece. He created this chaos, but I'm the one that brought it all onto Haddonfield.
Nah, I'd say Tommy did that.
I could have made all this go away. It was that night that you were attacked. It's not your fault. It's mine.
Anyway, Hawkins tells Laurie about the night when Michael Myers was almost killed.
And in that moment, all I could think was that inside that monster there was somebody's baby boy. Evil. I could have made all this go away. There's nothing inside that man but pure evil.
And Laurie makes another good speech, which, as much as everyone hates the whole evil dies tonight thing, she does a pretty good job of tying it to Michael here.
It's not just Michael. It's what he's done to this town, these people. You're a good man, Frank. You were doing your job, but now it needs to die.
It needs to die is a line that Loomis said in the recorded interview from the previous movie.
It needs to die.
It's almost become the catchphrase of this one.
It needs to die.
And I'm the one that needs to kill it.
Back to the mental patient, the mob has been held back so Karen can catch up to him, so she can help him.
It's not you. I know it's not you. I'm not gonna hurt you. I know you're scared. They're scared too. I'm not gonna let them hurt you. Okay.
Aw, Karen really is a good person. She's just kind of Karen-y at times.
Let go of my hand. That's good.
Anyway, she takes him to a safe place and locks the door so the mob can't get to him.
They're coming!
But here they come, and she can't hold them back. She finally convinces Tommy, but it's too late. He looks like he might be about to fight back. Instead, he breaks a window. And jumps to his death to get away from them. Jeez, that was heartbreaking. Evil dies tonight. Oh. Oof, we didn't need to see the body.
It's not him. Not him, Tommy.
No shit.
He's always worn a mask, Lee. How do we know it's not him? How do we know, Lee?
Because you saw him on the fucking TV screen.
Now he's turning us into monsters.
Now we're back to the flashback in 1978 when Hawkins tells his superior what happened.
What I'm thinking is the killer was choking him. Pete went for his gun. As he pulled it up, it went off.
He covered for him.
Like this. He shot himself. Got it? It was me.
It wasn't him!
Let me find him then! He's after me!
No, he's not.
And now Laurie is finally told that Michael didn't find her on his own. He wasn't even looking for her.
It's not about you.
Yeah, not everything is about you, Laurie.
He's a 6-year-old boy with the strength of a man and the mind of an animal.
I know, I've seen his face. I looked in his eyes when he took off his mask.
And his theory is that Michael wasn't looking out that window. He was looking at his own reflection. Karen seems to be contemplating this.
Who knows what makes him kill, what motivates him? But in his heart, it always seemed to me he wants one thing.
Michael just wants to go home, not unlike E.T. Meanwhile, Lonnie is looking at a map and confirming this based on everywhere he's gone.
Basically an arrow pointing straight to Lampkin Lane, Michael's childhood home. He creeps, he kills, he goes home.
Again, like E.T., but with a lot more murder.
Karen, listen, I'm sorry. You were right. I'm sorry.
Oh, Tommy is sorry, you guys.
An innocent man is dead! Fuck it. None of us are innocent.
No, I think the mental patient was, even if he's the only one.
I gotta keep trying. But if I go down, I'm gonna go down swinging.
I need a car.
I have a car.
Meanwhile, Lonnie and Co. have reached the Myers house.
I'm going in alone.
What?
Mr. Elam, with all due respect, do you really expect me to sit here while you go inside and confront the man that killed my father?
No, I don't expect you to. But I'm asking, Allison. But you stay safe. All right?
I mean, Michael can bust through cars like tinfoil, just saying.
I will see you at the finish line, buddy.
Be right back!
Something I didn't think to point out earlier, the two Johns had a couple of scarecrows on their porch holding a pretty convincing pitchfork, and I can't believe that wasn't foreshadowing. Anyway, Lonnie is possibly about to go into the Myers house for reals. I like to imagine Loomis's ghost still hanging around and messing with him.
This is so fucked up.
Almost immediately they hear gunshots, and so they come running with their own weapons.
Okay.
Nice going there, Allison. So I guess Michael put on some romantic music, and we see this really sweet picture of the two Johns during better times. And Michael put their bodies in that pose for some reason. That's kind of weird. Usually he'll make the victim look like some kind of Halloween decoration, like put a sheet over them like a ghost or a mask on their head or whatever. With these guys, he just posed them like their picture, almost in reverence. I have no idea why, I just think it's interesting. Maybe because he, on some level, appreciates them taking care of his old house? Or maybe he's an ally. I may kill people, but I ain't no homophobe. Anyway, he switched their positions. I guess he thought it was Big John's turn to lay down. In all seriousness, I guess it's closer to what he did to Annie in the first movie. No masks or sheets or other Halloween stuff. He was just like, you're Judith now. Anyway, Allison pulls a knife out of Little John as Cameron goes looking around. So far, they still haven't found his dad. Oops, I take that back. Michael finally got poor Lonnie. Cameron gets stabbed twice before Allison comes in kicking ass. Until Michael grabs her. He looks at her for a second. Does he see a bit of Laurie in her, I wonder? Or maybe he just remembers her as one of the 3 people who tried to burn him. Kinda hard to tell with Michael. And there goes her leg. I've been there, but not when a fucking serial killer is looming over me. I can't think of a worse position to be in. Michael's thing in this movie seems to be killing one member of a couple while making the other one watch. So, now that Allison can't get up, it's not gonna end well for Cameron. Cameron gets impaled on this broken post. A lot. And one more for good measure. Somehow he is still alive. And somehow Allison is standing. Adrenaline, I guess. Look at how slow and methodical Michael is here. Leave him alone! He really wants her to think about what he's gonna do. No! Jeez, poor Cameron. I guess he's back to hanging out with Oscar now. They both were really stupid, but neither deserved to die the way they did. Do it! Now Michael seems to have Allison right where he wants her. Oh, there's the payoff for the pitchfork. Holy shit, go Karen. Curb stomp that asshole. She takes his mask because she wants him to follow her.
Come and get it! You wanna fucking kill someone? Take me!
Allison is not having a good day. Anyway, it works. She leads him to an open area where everyone is waiting. Gotcha. Karen is best Karen, even if that's a low bar.
It's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Okay, technically that was a little silly, but I still approve of that use of his famous line from the original movie.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Tommy's got old Huckleberry ready to go, and the rest of the crowd has various weapons. Michael's like, hang on a second. Okay, let's go. And they just give him a no-holds-barred beatdown. The people of Haddonfield are taking their town back. And it's pretty amazing. But a wild Karen approaches.
We got this, Karen. Go be with your daughter.
Yeah, she wanted to get the last blow in. Can't say I blame her. Once again, a great speech from Laurie, still in the hospital.
The more he kills, the more he transcends into something else impossible to defeat.
He'll always be here, won't he? Even when we can't see him.
Karen said that earlier about Dad.
He'll always be with us. Even if we can't see him.
But I feel like Allison is talking about Michael.
You can't defeat it with brute force.
And just like that, former Sheriff Brackett is knifed. Various other people get sliced and stabbed. Meanwhile, Karen sees something in that window. And now, 40 years after he spotted the boogeyman, Tommy gets stabbed. And finished off with old Huckleberry. It couldn't protect the town from Michael. For some reason, Karen goes upstairs to that window. Maybe she's trying to imagine what Michael was thinking about when he used to look out that window. Karen, no! And now he's looking at his reflection again. Laurie almost seems to sense what happened. Yes, that's how it ends, and oh my god, when I saw this in the theater, I was holding in screams. I was so into it. There isn't even a post-credits sequence. This movie just abruptly ends on Karen being brutally murdered. What the fuck, movie? So that was Halloween Kills. I actually love this movie. It's not without flaws, which I'll go into later, but I don't think that anyone could disagree that on the level of being a good slasher film, this movie fucking delivers, okay? The last movie had some kills that were really brutal, but this one cranks it up to 11, and it's absolutely savage. Michael is utterly terrifying, and I'm so glad that these last two movies have made him scary again. I don't want to get back to bitching about the earlier sequels again, but one of my main issues is that Michael just wasn't that scary for a while. In the original movie, he was handled in a very specific way, and he had an undeniable mystique that he just kind of lost for a while. But Michael is back now, baby. A couple things I mentioned previously that I want to address. I kind of low-key made fun of the title of this movie. I don't know, when I first heard Halloween Kills, it just sounded like something some edgy preteen would come up with. After seeing the movie, now I get it. It really is all about the kills. According to one of the DVD extras, Michael killed 31 people in this movie, which is a personal best for him. And regarding those kills, I think I'm over wanting them to be realistic. I do like when movies can pull that off, but I think a bigger issue I had with the old Halloween sequels, and a lot of other slasher films, is when they focus on creative kills and deliver them to annoying or at least uninteresting or undeveloped characters that no one cares about. And it's like, that was a cool death, but I'm not gonna miss that person. In this movie, and the previous one to be fair, it introduces a character, gets you to like them, and then forces you to watch them get brutally murdered. I suppose one could complain that it becomes predictable or even manipulative, but it worked on me every time. The victims all feel very human, and there is so much weight to their deaths, and you can feel very sad along with horrified. And the movie pushes it even further with things like Phil calling out to Sandra until the very end, the hopeless look in Sandra's eyes as she watches Michael plunge knife after knife into Phil's dead body, Little John finding Big John's mutilated corpse and being beside himself with grief, Allison screaming at Michael to stop as he throws Cameron around like a rag doll. It's all just so intense. That said, there's a surprising amount of humor and charm to balance it out when needed. Like I said, the two Johns were really fun, and I got a kick out of Nurse Who Was Really a Doctor and Doctor Who Was Really a Nurse. I also love those flashback scenes. It's really cool how closely they replicated Lonnie's look from the original movie. Obviously a different actor, his face is shaped pretty differently, but most people aren't going to compare them side by side like I am here. The fact that they got the hair and outfit just about exactly the same is pretty impressive. Not to mention Loomis, which I talked about earlier, but again, wow. Another cool thing about the flashbacks is how they used music from the original movie rather than the more modernized soundtrack from the rest of Halloween Kills. So it really feels like this could almost be deleted footage from the original movie. The only thing missing is maybe mimicking the picture quality, like adding some really subtle noise or something. It's probably for the best that they didn't do that. It would have probably taken you out of it and reminded you that you're watching a movie. And because we really didn't know much about Officer Hawkins in the first movie, learning his backstory and understanding his motivation is important, and this was an interesting way to accomplish that. On the other hand, a lot of people didn't like the side story about the escaped mental patient, and how the townspeople run him out of a window because they think he's Michael. I honestly have mixed feelings about it. I think they just didn't see or notice what the guy looked like and assumed he was Michael because they were all riled up. Maybe not all of them saw the pictures on the news. My main issue is that they specifically showed Tommy seeing their pictures on the news, and then somehow he still thinks it's Michael? Like I said, maybe Tommy didn't get a good look at the guy. He saw everyone else saying it was Michael and he didn't question it and just ran in the direction they were running in. It's really hard to tell how close he is to the guy, so maybe that's something that could have been made a little more obvious. But then when he finally sees the guy's face, he's still not sure if it's Michael or not. And again, he should know after seeing the fucking news. They could have easily avoided all that nonsense by just showing Tommy looking away from the screen during that part. All that said, the movie was trying to make a statement about mob mentality and how Michael had essentially poisoned the entire town, and while it wasn't handled perfectly, I don't dislike it, at least as a concept. Like I said, the mental patient's death is really heartbreaking, so I can't say it wasn't effective, at least in that way. Another complaint I've seen is that Laurie and Michael don't interact at all in this movie. And that's totally fair. I feel like this movie was kind of meant to give Laurie a bit of breathing room, and without them doing that, we wouldn't have gotten those great character moments between her and Officer Hawkins. So I guess you could say it's a trade-off. But yeah, it is kind of strange to have a Halloween movie with Laurie in it, where she doesn't interact with Michael at all. I do think it's kind of funny that this movie has Laurie being in a hospital after the events from the previous movie, possibly as a nod to Halloween 2. Of course, in that movie, Michael came to the hospital after her. Maybe this was their way of averting our expectations. One thing that bothered me a little bit is that they brought back these characters from the original movie, Marion and Sheriff Brackett, and they both die. And it's not really so much that they died even. It's that they died in ways that were really quick and stupid. Former Sheriff Brackett is the first one that Michael kills after he makes his comeback, and it basically happens in a flash. Marion, I hate how it's set up like she's about to have this badass moment until it turns out that her gun is empty. Like I said, I didn't expect her to kill Michael, especially so early in the movie, but she should have gotten at least one shot at him. They both deserved better. Their deaths felt kinda cheap. I'm tempted to complain about Tommy's death too, but at least he got a lot of screen time, even though he was kind of an idiot. Despite everything, I really didn't want him to die. Granted, I really didn't want anyone in this movie to die, but I was kind of looking forward to Tommy maybe redeeming himself in the sequel. Same goes for Lonnie. Even though they really had to expand on his character a lot, he technically counts. I liked Lonnie a lot. He seems like a fun and caring guy, and it kinda sucks that his death happened off screen. I think the only one they brought back who didn't die was Lindsay. I guess she'll be replacing Karen in the trio of strong women. Speaking of which, holy shit, they killed off Karen. I did not see that coming. I'm getting ahead of myself though. I wanted to talk about how this movie made Karen, of all people, into a badass. Not that we didn't get a little hint of that in the previous movie, but she did spend a lot of that movie in denial. This movie really made me like Karen. She really cares about other people, she takes charge. Like I said, she's a Karen who uses her powers for good, and she kicked Michael's ass for a little bit. But then they fucking killed her. What the hell? I do wonder what the significance was of the scene where she looks out the window, or rather looks at her reflection in the window the way Michael did. I feel like that's some kind of hint of what's to come in the third movie, but I have no idea what that could be. Maybe it has something to do with the secret to defeating him? And speaking of foreshadowing and such, I think it's interesting that while the previous movies showed a single jack-o'-lantern during the title sequence, this one showed many. Not sure if the single one in the previous movie symbolizes Michael and the ones here symbolize the townspeople, since they end up killing the other mental patient, if indirectly. Or maybe the jack-o'-lantern symbolizes victims, and since this movie has an insanely high body count, they showed multiple jack-o'-lanterns. Or maybe they just thought it would look cool. I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff at the wall here. So I guess that's about all I have to say about Halloween Kills. It's kind of flawed, but I still love it. Michael Myers is absolutely terrifying, the kills are brutal. I genuinely liked the flashback to 1978 in the beginning. Giving Lonnie some more backstory was interesting, and I liked how they handled Loomis. Also the scene with the firefighters, holy shit. I could go on all day, but I do recommend it. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how they wrap this all up. I did see something that worries me a little bit. About 2 months ago, as of this recording, John Carpenter indicated that there's always a possibility for more movies after Halloween ends, and was quoted as saying, "I will have to see how much money it makes." So apparently he learned nothing from Halloween 2. You know, the movie that he made just for the money, that he hates now, and is basically what led up to this trilogy being made in the first place? Anyway, I want to end on a high note. Halloween ends! It looks like it takes place a few years after the last movie, so I guess it's caught up to real time. The trailer shows almost nothing but Laurie and Michael fighting, so we're definitely gonna get that this time, don't worry. But I do hope that it really is the end. Not because I didn't love these last 2 movies, I definitely did, I just worry about history repeating itself. And that's the end of this video. See you next time. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Here's some other videos you might be interested in. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to further support my channel, there's also Patreon.
I think that's hot. Like somebody murdering me, it's so intimate.